How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame. We are back with another FPL live stream, and today we're going to be taking a look at Game Week 27. That's right, Mono. Bruno hater, sit down. I didn't have him in my team, but he could have scored 50 goals. I wouldn't have cared because we beat Manchester City, and Manchester is red. That's the title of the preview this week, and it's a perfect backdrop for this week. Also, it kind of makes the title race a little bit more interesting if I mean, City did beat Southampton today, and they'll probably go on a winning run, but hey, they start dropping points here and there. Maybe they start prioritizing the Champions League. Maybe some things may happen. So maybe we'll see. But I expect City to still win the league. But overall, a green arrow for me. But some kind of annoying things on my bench, which you'll see in just a bit. But make sure to hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button over on YouTube, hit the like buttons on the videos, all that sort of stuff. Share, and yeah, let's get right into it. The Sherry5 says, had sold Bruno for Bale. I don't think that's a bad trade, to be honest. I mean, Bale scored 2. And then Bale scored that 2 goals and an assist like the game week before or whatever. So you're okay, I think, on that front. But yeah, the team got 74 points, which is quite good considering my captain only got me 2. So yeah, team did quite good. Gundogan and De Bruyne and Kane bringing up the majority of those points. With Target getting a clean sheet, Martinez getting a clean sheet. Still don't know how he managed to keep a clean sheet, but he did. Son getting an assist. Lookman 3 points, not great. Pereira, Vardy, Watkins all getting 2 points, not great. And then obviously on the bench is a horror show this week. I mean, Areola versus Martinez. I would have always played Martinez because he had the better fixture. That was always going to happen. Aina I was never going to play. My 3 defenders had better fixtures. One had a double. One of them was versus Wolves. One of them was versus Brighton. I wasn't gonna play Aina versus Liverpool because I thought, hey, well, Liverpool probably gonna score. Fulham open up a little bit, and maybe they it's a 1-1, 2-1, something like that. They get back on track. Shaw, on the other hand, was a nightmare because he scored, kept a clean sheet. Yeah, he got booked, but again, 14 points on the bench, not what you want to see. Could have had a massive week. Like, if I had played Shaw instead of, let's say, even Cancelo. Let's say I hedged my bets, or Pereira. An extra 12 points there. I captain De Bruyne, and I get an extra 15 points or something stupid. It's a bit tricky on that front. So yeah. Time to rethink the City defense. Shaw is immense. He definitely was. He definitely was. And he's going to be playing for me this week coming. I don't care if we're playing West Ham. He is going to play. And then Barnes obviously on the bench getting 0 points because he is injured. And he will probably likely, almost certainly, be my transfer this week. I have 2 frees this week as well, so we'll get to that in a bit. But I still don't know what to do with them, to be honest. Maybe I only use just one, because at the moment as it stands, we have Martinez or Areola. We get to choose for the blank game week, rather. So used to saying double game week because it's been so many double game weeks in a row. The blank game week, I get to choose a goalkeeper, basically. I have Aina and Target, who will play in the blank, or should play in the blank. Lookman, Son, Watkins, and Kane. So that makes a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players. So 7 players. We're already kind of the way there. When we technically have 3 free transfers, so I can have a maximum of 10 if I wanted to without a hit. So yeah, not too shabby. 70 points, pretty much just a 1% point drop. Yeah, I mean, 1% drop, not the end of the world. Hey Zodiac, how's it going? Yeah, De Bruyne's 2 goals from open play. Definitely glad that came through. Definitely glad that came through. 165k rank. Hey, you're in and around it. But for me this week, basically my whole mentality was, if City smash United or it's a 0-0, I'm happy in both scenarios. And if United wins and City smashes Southampton, then I'm happy that way too. Unfortunately, just Cancelo didn't play, and could have potentially got an attacking return, but is what it is. But overall, in hindsight, I would have probably benched, if I'd done it all again, I would have benched the same players. Because I was kind of favoring, I said United would probably get a 0-0. But I expected City to score. So if there was a team that was going to score, and obviously, you know, like Mono says, Mahrez, I mean, we have him as a differential this week, spoiler alert, again, because he's around 5%. So, and Pep came up with comments that says people who provide for the team and do what they're supposed to for the team will keep playing. So, whether that's true or not, we'll see. He is potentially due a rest, but he also said that basically until, you know, since the games are jam-packed and all that sort of stuff, he's going to have to, you know, play the players that are doing well, basically, in order to get the results. So we shall see on that front. But yeah, overall, if I had to do it again, I'd bench the same players. You know, wouldn't be too disheartened with the amount of points on the bench. That being said, though, would have definitely liked 28 points over 19 points on a bench boost, even with one player, you know, not playing. So yeah. Cancelo to start against Fulham being rested, potentially, but he can also easily be benched for that game too. That's the worry you have with City defenders. You know, John Stones could potentially be benched as well. I would not be shocked if I saw Cancelo and Stones on the bench with the Champions League game coming up. I would not be shocked. So we will see. We will see on that front. But yeah, if I had to do it all again, I would definitely play Martinez still. Cancelo, Pereira, and Target would have been my defenders. Maybe I wouldn't have captained Cancelo, went with a bit of a rogue pick, but hey, I got away with it. 45, or no, I think it was 50k places up, because we were at like 805k, and now we're at 755,000 places. So, all right, let's get into our predictions. So we had our predictions, which we do over on Twitter. And that being said, I forgot to write down my ones from last week. I wrote down the number, but I didn't write it on the pad properly. I believe it was 13 overall. So it was game week 26. Now we're on game week 27. All right. Get that out of the way. Cool. Me too. I broke the top of 100k, and then Martinez is killing me every single week. Just get Martinez. That's what I did. I just stopped worrying about it. Mind you, I'm going to have some benching headaches because I think that there are some fixtures where Martinez I don't want to play, like versus Liverpool if they get their act together, where I would rather play Areola as an example. KDB definitely on the radar, but not until game week 31 as I can't. Got killed because of Kane, KDB, and Bale. Well, KDB wasn't as highly owned as some, but Kane would have killed you. If you didn't have Kane this week, you probably got burned. He was probably the main one. Him, Bruno, even Gundogan got a goal. I'm just trying to think who else. That's about it, really. Everybody else was pretty, and Martinez obviously. Kane and Bruno are the real ones, yeah. Pretty much, just all random fly come across my screen. Anyway, back to the predictions. So we predicted Burnley 1-1, so we got the result wrong, so we get no points. So if you don't know our scoring, it's basically if you get the exact result right, you get 3 points. If you get the result right, you get 1 point, and if you get it not right, then you get 0 points. So I got no points there. I predicted a Sheffield United draw with Southampton. Not really sure what I was thinking there, but no points for that. Aston Villa did not win versus Wolves. They drew 0-0, so nothing there. Brighton versus Leicester got the exact score right, 2-1, so that's 3 points. West Brom versus Newcastle ended up being a 0-0. So no points there. Liverpool, again, disappointing versus Fulham. So nothing there either. Predicted 1-1 and it was 1-0. Man City 1-0 over Manchester United. Should have backed my own team, but if it means United win, I don't really care too much. So nothing there. Spurs versus Palace. I predicted 2-0. It ended up being 4-1. So, you know, a comfortable margin in the end for Spurs. So, 1 point. Chelsea-Everton, we got 1 point there. We predicted a 2-1. It was a 2-0. Same for the West Ham-Leeds game as well. And then Man City versus Southampton, we predicted a 2-0. It ended up being a 5-2 shootout. So 1 point there. So overall, we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. West Brom did keep the clean sheet. Lloris, however, it did not, which is unfortunate. Rudiger was actually benched and did not play. Diego Jota did not get involved. And I don't believe Danny Welbeck even helped out his team. No, he did not. So the differential picks this week were all terrible, except the clean sheet. If you would told me to, you know, or followed my clean sheet pick, then you would have been okay. So yeah. Kane captain would kill. Yep, exactly. I'm 7.5 million. You just started FPL Gameweek 18. Hard to tell how I'm doing. Got 73 points this week. Oh, you've just started. Yeah, 73 points is definitely good this week. Obviously, you won't be able to really tell your rank because obviously starting in Gameweek 18, not really much you can do. You know, then it is what it is. Next season, obviously, you'll be able to tell if you know when you play from the start. So, any chance we could do a group match prediction for fun on your Twitter or similar? Yeah, I mean, you could post so I post all of these predictions every time over on Twitter. So if you want to, you know, post the prediction and you get it right, exactly right or something, I can like retweet it or something like that. We can do something similar like that. Grats with United though. Yeah, exactly. United, I didn't even expect them to win. So I'm happy that they surprised me. However, it is in United's nature to win against a team when the chips are down and it doesn't seem like United's going to win. That's exactly when they want to they want to basically get themselves up for it and win, basically, which is very, very odd. So like West Ham will be considered another big game. I expect it to be a quite close contest, but I expect United to edge it. But then maybe they might falter against Brighton. It's really, really weird how United play. Got lucky bringing Bale in. Yeah, Bale's a good shout. The only thing is with Bale, obviously, if you're new to football or new to FPL itself, if you're new to football, you obviously know that you won't know that Gareth Bale is typically injury prone. But if you're not new to football, then you probably know that, and you can just apply it to FPL, which is a pretty straightforward game in a sense. Obviously, a decent bit of luck involved, but a good transfer, getting ahead of the crowd, as it were, on Bale. So very good on that one. I believe Mono's name on Twitter is like Mono something as well. Just check one of the tweets that's been liked, and it's probably Mono on there. Yeah, literally his name. Exact same name. But yeah, if you just put like on the predictions, I usually post them after the stream over on Twitter, so make sure to follow us over there. I always post when we go live and that sort of stuff too, so yeah, very good reasons to follow Twitter, which is PilotFlame226. So, but yeah, pretty much pretty straightforward stuff. But yeah, surprises of the week. Obviously, United beating City and looking quite comfortable, causing City all sorts of problems in the first 30 minutes. Liverpool, I guess not so surprising, but continuing their dreadful form. And Chelsea making Everton look extremely average. Arsenal's woes still continue, and Aston Villa not being able to score, still a concern for them. All right, predictions for this week. And this is where you can post them in the chat as well. We definitely encourage the predictions. So I'm going to bring across my little notepad here. So, Newcastle versus Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa have been struggling to score, but they have been keeping clean sheets. And I think that Grealish could be back for this game. We don't know officially yet, but I think if Grealish is back, they're definitely going to win. and they should be able to beat Newcastle. But I'm kind of leaning towards like a 2-0 comfortable win. Newcastle, they don't have really any players that can threaten Aston Villa's back line. Maybe a set piece, but even then, not really, all that great. So I think I'm going to go with a 2-0 Aston Villa win overall on that one. And if Grealish is back, could be even wider margin. But maybe he's rusty or something, but we'll see. Leeds versus Chelsea. This one could be a bit interesting on the Saturday. And also remember, it is a Friday deadline this week. 2:30 my time, which is 6:30 UK time. Or in our other fellow friends, 7:30 Norwegian time, as it were. Yeah, so make sure to check that out and have your team ready. That's why we're doing the deadline stream tomorrow, same time as we started as well tonight. Leeds versus Chelsea. Now this one's interesting because Chelsea don't concede very many goals. They haven't lost at home. They are playing at Leeds, which is not a great pitch, and I think probably a 1-1, maybe a 1-1. But Chelsea just don't concede goals. I think they'll probably burn Leeds on the counter, maybe a couple of times, maybe Hudson-Odoi, maybe Timo Werner. I like a 2-0 here. I think I'm going to back it because even, Leeds last week, versus West Ham. West Ham gave them opportunities, but again, they just couldn't put them away. And I don't think Chelsea's going to give them nearly as many opportunities. So I think a 2-0 for Chelsea. The 11 o'clock game, my time, and the second game on the Saturday. Crystal Palace versus West Brom. I think if you have anything to do during this time, me personally, I'm probably going to be painting the ceiling in my room. So I'm probably going to not be watching this game. So I think Crystal Palace at home, they've been looking a lot better. Defensively a lot better. And West Brom haven't been scoring much. I think maybe Crystal Palace probably grind this one out. Pretty straightforward. I'm going to go the 1-0 Crystal Palace. With Zaha back as well, that probably helps them out a little bit in attack. And maybe they catch West Brom later on in the game when they're kind of in transition, and they catch them on the break later on when they're trying to push men forward to nick something if it's still 0-0. Crystal Palace has their best season in 13 years. As in, they're having their best season in 13 years, or they haven't had a good season in 13 years. I mean, Crystal Palace always end up around similar-ish places. They can literally be anywhere from 17th to 11th, honestly. It's their best season in 13 years. Oh, maybe. I don't know the statistics on that. Everton versus Burnley. Surely Everton get back to winning ways here. Should be quite comfortable. I don't see anything but a pretty easy win here. I'm going to go 2-0 Everton personally. I can see Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin potentially getting on the score sheet. And the next three fixtures that Everton play, so they play Burnley and Newcastle in those next three fixtures. With the blank in 29. They could have a double in 30 as well, which is why I want to go into Game Week 30 with 2 free transfers, which is why I only want to use 1 transfer this week and then 1 transfer next week to see for the blank, and then have 2 going into Game Week 30, because Game Week 30 is after an international break as well, so that's something we have to kind of take into consideration. Zodiacs is 3-0, Sherry 2-0, Mono 2-0. Yeah, I mean, it's basically going to be a one-sided win for Everton. It should be, anyway. Fulham versus Man City. Now, Man City have been conceding goals. Maybe City concedes something at the back. Maybe they go a little bit light. I think Fulham potentially score here. But I think City will be comfortable. I'm going to go with a 3-1. I think it's going to be similar-ish to kind of how Southampton were. Southampton scored and kind of just basically made City mad, and City was able to comfortably win that game regardless. Then on the Sunday, it's an hour later than normal because it's daylight saving time from Saturday going into Sunday, at least for my my time zone, whereas the UK and Norway and that sort of stuff, they do it next week or the week after, or 2 weeks from now, whenever it is, basically. And the kickoff times are a bit on the wonky side. So, but the first game, Southampton versus Brighton. Southampton will be without Danny Ings, although they did score 2 goals versus City. Maybe Brighton open up a little bit. I just think Brighton are, they're not the greatest offensively, but Southampton haven't been great defensively. I can't really call it too much. I'm going to go with 1-1. Sherry says no. Mono says 1-1. Yeah, I agree with Mono. I think of 1-1. I think it's just going to be a draw. I can't really call it. Leeds versus Sheffield United. Now, for those that watched my captaincy video, which I posted yesterday, Sheffield United are pretty much are last in XG conceded and big chances conceded over the last 4 matches, and they're also in the bottom 5 for chances and big chances conceded per minute, basically. So even with Leicester not firing, I don't see there's any way where Leicester doesn't score in this game. I think Leicester also keep a clean sheet. So I'm going to go with a 2-0 victory here as well. Hopefully Vardy gets on the score sheet because I have him in my team for probably 1 more week. If he doesn't do it versus Sheffield United, this will be the longest drought that he's had, and it'll probably be time to get rid, which is another reason probably why I'm hanging on to a transfer. So yeah, because Leicester have a great run of fixtures. Arsenal versus Spurs. Now I think Arsenal are at home. They're going to be on the ascendancy. They're going to want to take the game to Spurs. Spurs and Mourinho will allow them to kind of, hit them a little bit. And then they'll just do what Spurs do, which is hit teams on the break with the pace of Son. They'll use Bale's kind of long-range shooting as a threat. Kane's creativity. And they could potentially get a set piece or 2 as well that causes Arsenal problems. I think Arsenal will probably score because I don't think Spurs are very good defensively, but I think Spurs will ultimately win the game quite comfortably, and I think 3-1. Maybe a counter-attacking goal, and then Spurs get a little bit more of the ball in the second half and then kind of open them up. Zodiac says Arsenal will win. It would be very like Arsenal to win versus Spurs and then lose versus... will be like Arsenal to beat Spurs, beat West Ham, and then they play like somebody else and then they'll lose or something. That's why Arsenal's 10th. Or 11th or whatever they are. Man United versus West Ham. I think West Ham are very good on set plays. I expect them to score, which isn't great for any Man United defender owner, so me playing Shaw. I don't see us keeping a clean sheet, but I think that West Ham control us on set plays. I think Eric Bailly might play in this game, which will be good because he can potentially deal with Antonio. West Ham are looking good. Zodiac says 1-1. Sherry 1-1. I think United potentially edge this one as well. I think West Ham are a little bit more open. And remember, they don't have Jesse Lingard because he can't play because he is on loan from United. I'm going to go with 2-1 Manchester United as well. Wolves versus Liverpool. Now, both teams are struggling to score. Wolves have been looking a little bit better defensively. I just think that with Diego Jota back in the team, he'll want to score versus his old club. I think they'll probably just nick it. I'm going to go with a 2-1 as much as I hate to see Liverpool. I mean, it's away from home, so Liverpool should win, right? It's not at home, so the trend shows that Liverpool should do well in that regard. Clean sheet this week, I think Leicester. I think Leicester should keep a clean sheet. Sheffield United, they have no excuse, really. In goal, Guaita, I think 3.1% owned. Crystal Palace have pretty good fixtures. They're versus West Brom. I mean, he came off a massive score in the double game week in 26, so I think he should be all right. Azpilicueta, I know a differential is kind of 5%, but 5.4% is pretty close. And I think that he's the only one that we can really trust as a starting out-and-out Chelsea defender, because obviously Rudiger getting benched for Zuma from time to time can be a bit problematic. But the main consistent person that's started game in, game out, just cleaning my glasses here a little bit, for Thomas Tuchel is Azpilicueta. Even Mendy has been rested 1 game. So Rudiger's been rested 1 game. Christensen's only come in since Thiago Silva was out injured. The fullbacks have been rotated. Even Mason Mount's been rested a game. Even Timo Werner's been rested a game. The only person that's maintained the entire time is Azpilicueta. So I'm going to go with him as the Chelsea defender, and I'm potentially looking to get him in game week 30 potentially for trying to put the cloth back in the little packaging. Trying to get him in for game week 30 onwards as well. So keep the lookout for him. Riyad Mahrez back on the differential list again, 5.8%. Plays Fulham. Looks good to me. Should start hopefully, and could be in for more points. And then lastly, in the forward slot, I haven't put one yet because I haven't figured out who I should potentially pick. But let me know what you guys think in the chat. A differential pick for a forward, so somebody that is 5% ish or less owned in the forward slot for this game week. Just trying to think of one potentially myself. Timo Werner is like 11%. Yeah. I mean, Che Adams plays Brighton. He's at 4.7%. Scored again. Maybe he's a differential pick that we can go for. Benteke. Yeah. Benteke. 0.7%. Versus West. Did he play versus West Brom? He did play versus West Brom last time. And they scored 2 goals. He scored 2 goals for them. So maybe that's a shout. Who else we got here? Ayu's obviously in there. Chris Wood is back, but they play Everton. Yeah, I'm thinking Che Adams or Benteke, but I'm gonna go with Benteke just because he has, just because he's like not somebody that's necessarily gonna be, you know, fashionable as it were. He plays for Crystal Palace, 5.5 in form, 0.7% owned. And he's versus West Brom. And if you look at the fixtures, you know, West Brom, then Everton, a team's not necessarily good on set pieces. Then obviously, you know, Chelsea, obviously, it's going to be quite tough. Southampton, you could do well versus. Leicester, defensively, haven't been great. City, you'll probably struggle. But then Sheffield United, Aston Villa probably struggle. And then Arsenal could be good. And, you know, he has a decent run of fixtures until the end of the season. So we will see on that. But he did score 2 goals versus West Brom, so maybe there's something in that as well. But yeah, this is the differential picks and clean sheet and predictions. I will put this over on Twitter once we are done here, so make sure to keep that off to the side. But yeah, so this is the team as it stands. So we have Martinez in goal with Areola as his substitute on the bench. We're playing a 4-3-3, so a more traditional, like in, you know, actual football system with Pereira, Cancelo, Target, and Shaw down the back with our only other defender being Aina as second sub. In midfield, we have Gundogan, De Bruyne, Heung-min Son, with Barnes as third sub on the bench, who we're looking to potentially transfer. And Lookman as our first sub. And then up front, we have Vardy, Watkins, and Kane, with Vardy captained, with Kane as the vice captain. I think it's going to be one of those two for me. De Bruyne definitely had a good showing tonight, getting the 2 goals for himself. I just think the fixture, Fulham, they've been quite good, honestly, and could pose them a bit of trouble. Kane usually always scores against Arsenal, but I just can't look past Sheffield United at home for Vardy, who he did score versus last time they played them. But yeah. Are you looking ahead now for the next few weeks? Yeah, I can definitely do that. I can show you what I'm potentially looking at over the next few weeks, because I have 2 free transfers, so I'm at a bit of a crossroads here. I don't know which way to go with my team, and if you guys have any suggestions in the chat, feel free, because I don't know what to do personally. I'm I'm not free hitting in 29 because I have 7 players, so I don't think I need to. I think even if I go in with 8 or 9, I think that's still fine. But I'll tell you what the moves that I want to make later down the line are. So, if I I'm gonna bring over the same notepad. I just gotta make some space for that. So if we bring up, I'm gonna bring up scroll down to the fixtures here. So we'll skip blank game week 29 for now, but in game week 30, I want to be able to have so game week 30, I want to be able to have Fernandez, and I want a Chelsea defender, so probably Azpilicueta. You still got a wild card? No. So I'll put that on the I'll put that here. Chips. I have triple captain and free hit. Those are the 2 that I have left. I have no wild card, no bench boost. So in game week 30, I want Fernandez and Azpilicueta. That's what I want to get. If I take a hit potentially to get Calvert-Lewin or an Everton attacker, then maybe we can look for that later. But do you not need 3 Villa and 3 Everton for game week 30? I mean, they're going to have a double because they play against each other, right? Is that who the double is? Let me actually just so let me just move this here. So if I go to, let's put the team here. So Aston Villa. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, so it is versus Everton. Okay, so that's the one that we're looking for. Yeah, so that's the one that they're looking to reschedule. And I think Ben Crellin came out and said that it's like a 60% chance it goes into game week 30. Which would be nice because potentially I can make moves before that to sort that out. You don't necessarily need 3 Everton, definite 3 Everton. Because, if they have the double, it is versus Villa. And Villa's a bit of a tricky customer, all things considered. 60 to 70%, yeah. But if you look at Everton's, fixtures, they have... let me just bring up all players. So Everton's fixtures is, Burnley at home is a pretty good fixture. Then they can have a double versus Crystal Palace and Aston Villa. Then they have Brighton, which should be quite good. Spurs, Arsenal, the Aston Villa at home fixture. So they haven't played the away fixture. That would be the at home fixture. Then they have West Ham, Sheffield United, Wolves, Man City. So all things considered, it's not terrible. It's a pretty good batch of fixtures overall. Cancelo to Dino could be on the cards. Diaz to Dino could be on the cards as well. It's unfortunate they don't play in the blank, but that would have been nice. But unfortunately, Aston Villa do, so they can't really have a double in that. I will keep Cancelo. The ceiling's too high. Yeah, but the ceiling's been high for so long. Let me go down here and put radar. Excuse me. Would be Digne, DCL / Richie. Okay, so then 31. Having 2 Man City attackers is what I would want. So I'll just put here game week 31. I'll just put Man City versus Leeds. which I already have. I already have two attackers, which is nice. I have McCarthy and Pope. I feel sick. What do I do? Get Martinez. Lamptey's injured for the rest of the season. I think he's flagged now, officially, I think. But he had a setback with his hamstring, and I think he needs to have surgery. So I think he's done for this season. What else do we have here? So then in 32, we need to start looking at potentially Liverpool. Liverpool is definitely something potentially there. In 33 is free hit week, most likely. Game week 34. Then from 34 onwards, we can kind of just kind of go with the flow. Yeah, so these are the kind of players that I have on my radar. Digne, DCL, Richarlison, Werner, and Jota. Those are the ones that I'm looking at. But these are I want to have these two transfers for 30. I definitely want Fernandes back, and I want Azpilicueta or a Chelsea defender of some kind. I want to make sure I maintain my two City attackers for 31. I'm looking at Liverpool potentially in 32 because that's when they play Leeds. And then from there they have Leeds, they have Newcastle, they have United, but that's kind of a one-off. Then they have Southampton, West Brom, Burnley, and Crystal Palace to end the season. So, all things considered, the fixtures are quite good, and I think they should get better, hopefully, for the end of the season, so we can at least use them. Are you keeping Martinez the whole season? Yeah, I have Martinez and Ariel at the moment. Let me actually bring my team up on the screen, and I can put this like kind of. Is there a place where I can put this? Not really. I can always just minimize it as needed. But yeah, basically what I'm looking to do is obviously get Fernandes back, get in Azpilicueta, free hit in 33, keep my Man City attackers, and potentially look at some Everton for the double, with the triple captaincy still in the back pocket for somewhere. So this is the blank game week. So anything that I'm probably missing from the blank game week. So if you look at the players, so I'm going to eliminate all the players that don't play in the blank, basically. So those are the players that I have playing in the blank. Not sure. Those are the players that I have playing in the blank. So I have one goalkeeper, two defenders, two midfielders, two attackers. So I have 7 players overall. And could potentially get an additional one in probably the midfield slot. Maybe Rafinha if I'm looking there. Maybe Lingard, but again, Lingard doesn't play this week, which would actually benefit me because that means I don't have to change my actual starting lineup at all. But if I brought in Rafinha, would I play him versus Chelsea? Probably not. I'd probably play a defender of him, but we'll see. I can leave off Martinez and get in, say, Target for Ben Mee. Yeah, I mean, that's possible. You can still get the clean sheets. But the problem is Martinez, if they keep a clean sheet, then, they're always, good to go. I still have Rashford. Any ideas? Grealish, yep. If you don't have triple Villa, players in the blank will have a double. For me, I already have triple Villa, so I can't do anything about that unless I change something up. So for me, what I could potentially do, so is this week, use one transfer. Or I could potentially even use both transfers if I wanted to, and just save in 29 because I'm not using a chip. So let's say I get in Rafinha. And then I'll restore these players. Then I go with 8 into the blank. And I would then have to definitely use a transfer. So if I was going to use a transfer, I would probably make a transfer of somebody who's probably not likely going to have to, quarantine or anything like that. So Azpilicueta is probably the one, because I don't think he plays international football. And he's somebody who I want in my team. So then I go into, so that would be in 29. So basically that would be a transfer for somebody that doesn't play in 29 for another player that doesn't play in 29. So it's just preparation and basically making it so that we don't eat a transfer. And then we can then look to Everton players and Fernandes. Is a -4 worth it to have 10 players in week 29 or keep 9 players with good games? If you're taking out a player and bringing in someone like a Kane or a Son, or somebody who can do well, and a lot of people are going to have. So basically, the one thing that I would say is mandatory is Martinez or Areola for sure, Kane and Son, and then an attacker, whether it be Bamford, Watkins, or Antonio. And then after that, just make up the ground with 8 players. That's what I would say. But if it's like a -4 and it facilitates Kane or facilitates Son or something like that, then you can go for it. Think of it this way: will the player you get transferred in get at least 4 points, which means a clean sheet, assist, or a goal? Yeah, exactly. Just think of it that way as well. But if you do it in 29, then you have to think of the player just getting 2 less points than what they would. McCarthy, Pope, Stones, Cancelo, Kufal, Dallas, me, Gundogan, Bruno, Rafinha, Son, Rashford, Kane, Bamford, DCL. Moving towards game week 29. Any help appreciated. So you have Kufal and Dallas. You have Rafinha and Son. You have Kane and Bamford. So you have 6 players. Wildcard in 31. Well, how many free transfers do you have? I would say is probably another question. That would be another question I would have. One free transfer. Okay, so you basically have 3 free transfers up and until 31. So you currently have 6 players, and you can go into it having 8. So Martinez this week, he has Newcastle, and he has Fulham in 30. So I would say one of those transfers would be probably Martinez, in my opinion, because and that would probably be for this week, because Pope plays Everton, probably not likely to keep a clean sheet. Then he doesn't play in 29, and then Pope plays up against Southampton away, which isn't, Burnley away isn't really great, and Martinez could keep 2 out of the 3 clean sheets in those. So I would say Martinez is probably a priority this week. I would say Martinez for Pope and play Martinez is probably a good transfer. And then for this week, you would play Stones, you would play Cancelo, you would play, who else? Let's see. And then you would probably play... It's a bit tricky, but if I had to pick, I would pick Soufal or Dallas. Definitely not Ben Mee, but probably Soufal, because the likelihood is West Ham is probably more likely to keep a clean sheet than Leeds. But it's a bit tricky. Then you would play Gundogan, you would play Bruno, you play Son, you play Rashford, you would play Kane, and then you could play one of Bamford or Rafinha, and then you play DCL, obviously. Me for Digne or Region / Dunk. Yeah, I like the Martinez better. In week 29, am I playing Martinez or Areola? It's tough call, actually. I think I might be playing Areola, and mainly because I have a lot of Fulham players on my team, so I can root for one team. So a lot of people are going to have Leeds players, whereas my team, if you look, as it stands now, obviously I have Rafinha in there, but I would have 3 Fulham players. Maybe I can spread it around, and I got 1 Martinez, 1 Aina. You know, double Fulham defense would be stupid. I mean, it could be. It definitely could be. But Fulham have been great defensively recently. But I think what's most likely going to happen is, since I do have Aina playing, because I would be stupid not to play him, basically, because he has a fixture. I would probably play Martinez and probably hedge my bets, basically. Yeah, spread the risk. I'd probably hedge my bets. If you know, kind of a scenario, it's like you get pushed off a cliff or something if you don't make the decision right now, I would say Martinez and Aina. Especially if I'm getting Rafinha, because I'll just have to hope that if Leeds do score, it is Rafinha. And if they don't score, then obviously Aina keeps a clean sheet, and then I just have to hope that Martinez saves a penalty, and then Kane taps it in anyway, and then it goes on to score 3 or something. I don't know. Some type of scenario. But a lot of people are going to have Martinez and just play Martinez, so I'll be basically covering those points in a sense. Don't like to use that word coverage, but it is it. Is Cresswell essential? Cresswell is someone I haven't had on my team the entire season, and he has been excellent. So he's another one. Actually, I'm going to put him on the radar, because I forgot about him. Cresswell and Dawson, both of them actually, are quite good. On a good day, you get a clean sheet against Leeds. On a bad day, Leeds could score 3, even against teams like City and Liverpool. Yeah, exactly. I mean, opening day, nobody expected Leeds to score 3 versus the champions in Liverpool. You know, it was a bit nuts. But yeah, getting back to the transfer. So let's say I bring in Rafinha. I would do Azpilicueta in 29. Alternatively, I could just do the Azpilicueta transfer in 30, and then I can do in 29 I can bring in Calvert-Lewin, because you know, or Richarlison. I can basically look and see what they do versus Burnley, see how they play. And kind of gauge it off that. And also, both of them play on international duty. And Richarlison's a little bit on the injury-prone side. And Calvert-Lewin's had his injuries recently, so maybe it'd be a good time to kind of wait and see. So I think probably what I'm going to do is probably bring in a midfielder of some kind. Lingard, Rafinha, somebody like that, as Mono said. Because also, if I bring in Lingard, I'm not going to play Lingard or Rafinha anyway, because Rafinha plays Chelsea, and Chelsea have been so good defensively. And Lingard can't play versus United, so I would have no choice. And the current player I have is Barnes, and he's injured, so I wouldn't play all 3 of them. I would play Barnes if I had him this week, but... so yeah, bring in Rafinha, then bring in Azpilicueta. Then it becomes a bit tricky, because in game week 30, I can get rid of Vardy. But if I bring in Fernandes for the likes of Lookman, I only have 5.5 million for a forward. However, there was a certain forward named Benteke who had quite good fixtures after a certain game week. or he had a bit of a mixed bag. Who is 5.5 million. But it is a bit tricky. And it is someone that we could potentially just blank the spot. So if we wanted to, we could just have Brewster. And then just play our midfielders basically every week. Because from 30 onwards, you know, 30 we could play Rafinha against Sheffield United. Seems perfectly fine. We would play Rafinha. We would play... we would basically play all our midfielders. We play our 2 attackers. We play Azpilicueta. We would play Target. Shaw versus Brighton, probably versus Brighton. It'll be a tough call between him and maybe Cancelo, because they play Leicester, obviously. But basically, we would play 3-5-2 in that week, and then we can look to potentially move Rafinha to somebody else. You know, from 32 onwards, you know, that's potentially looking at Antonio again. Looking at Lingard, obviously. Cresswell is another person that I would look to go in there for. Obviously, City's fixtures. Leicester, Leeds, Aston Villa, all could potentially score versus City. And then they have a blank. So maybe we want to move away from Cancelo and go to the more comfortable Diaz later on. And we can use his funds to maybe get the likes of Cresswell, and ultimately shift the funds away from that area and use Shaw, whose defensive fixtures, you know, West Ham, Brighton, Burnley, all good. But then you're looking at Leeds, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Leicester, not great defensively in terms of defensive fixtures. And then somehow we got to think about potentially, Digne is still an option in there. Is a bunch of different things. It all depends on when the double is announced. But I think that the most comfortable thing for me to do right now is use one for the blank with something that doesn't necessarily change my team up too much. So if we look at the players I want to bring in, the only one I'm willing to get rid of right now, so I'm willing to keep Pereira and Vardy as differentials because they have Sheffield United, and that's the only reason. So we will see on that front. Don't want to get rid of Cancelo because he's likely going to play versus Fulham. Don't want to get rid of Shaw because he's at home. Going to win the De Bruyne, obviously not getting rid of them. Can't really get anyone for Ana or Target with the money that we have available in one transfer. I want to keep everyone else, really, so Barnes is probably the only one that can go. Yeah, any player coming in now, I mean, they don't have to necessarily play for 29, but obviously if you're going for 8 players like myself, or 8 to 9 players, I think 8 players is probably fine. McGoldrick will score a hat-trick if McGoldrick scores a hat-trick versus Leicester, I don't know what I'd do, honestly. Probably make McGoldrick my background or something. I don't know. Or put him up on a dartboard, because he would have scored 3 goals versus Pereira. Is McGoldrick Irish? I didn't know he was Irish. United only got 1 good game until Gameweek 36-32 against Burnley. No, United have pretty good games. West Ham, they beat them, 3-1? So I think West Ham's a fine game. Brighton should be okay. Spurs away is actually better. Burnley should be fine. Leeds is fine. Liverpool, they should have beat them last time. Leicester's good. Fulham's good. Wolves is good. So I think, and like Aston Villa's probably going to be tough if they have a full squad. He is. Okay. Yeah. Up the McGoldrick then. I mean, you say Spurs aren't good, but again, it was a pretty freak result. But how can you say Leeds is good for Shaw? Because Shaw's very good at transitioning the ball fast on the break, as we saw versus City, attacking-wise. And Leeds took 6 goals the last time United played them. Because if there's one thing that you don't want to let United do, is allow them to fast break and do counterattacks, which is also susceptible to a press. So Leeds, basically, if you press them well, which United did versus City, you can really break them down. But it's Shaw against Rafinha. I mean, Shaw held up, like, Shaw got put on his tail once or twice versus Mahrez, but Mahrez didn't score. Didn't create any really, really threatening chances. Shaw 1v1 defending is fantastic. He's one of the best, honestly. And going forward this season, he's been leaps and bounds. The only thing that I've had criticism of him is his position when he is caught upfield attacking and he needs to get back into position. It's the amount of work rate to get back in that position. That's my criticism of him, is the amount of times I see him potentially, or even Wan-Bissaka too. They get caught upfield and they don't necessarily bust a gut to get back and make those like darting runs, like how Rashford did, and he hurt himself pretty much trying to get back into position. They're bad versus Burnley on set pieces. Yeah, that could be a problem. Set pieces has been a bad thing for United. His strength is 1v1, yeah. It's just when they double up on one side, that's a problem. I'm not getting United players till Gameweek 47. I see that you corrected that, but Gameweek 47, that's a bit of a stretch. I don't think we're playing in the Championship. But yeah, Gameweek 37. Makes sense, because the last 2 fixtures are okay for United. But, I think Bruno's just going to continue to punish us. Maguire and Lindelof can be bullied. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Shaw's amazing, don't misunderstand me. Yeah, I mean, he has been great. Attacking-wise, he's definitely been providing way more than I thought he was going to. He's basically looking like how he was under LVG. Louis van Gaal. But, yeah, so transfer-wise, I think I'm looking at just kind of like a midfielder, that plays in 29. Or maybe even I potentially take out. See, it's tricky because I don't really want to get rid of Pereira, Shaw, Cancelo, or Target this week because I don't think they're going to play and I don't think they're going to do well. Yeah, for FPL, a player can be amazing, but in real life, they could be like average, So like Bruno the past several weeks hasn't played well, but FPL points, he's just like all over the shop. Well, the thing is, people say Shaw's been a little bit on the bigger side. He's definitely toned down, obviously, his overall weight for sure, but he is just naturally a big dude. Like, he's a big dude for a fullback. Like, he has really broad shoulders. And he's just a big dude. And he's also quite deceivingly quick as well. Yeah, Pereira has been bad the last 4 weeks as well. I've had him as well, so I'm in the same boat. Marte can be a cheap differential for the bench, 3.9. Yeah, I mean, that's true. But I think he could be in and out of the team. Makes me feel happy eating my pizza and fries. I had pizza and fries tonight, actually. Yeah, he had that long-standing injury, and it took him a while to get back into the swing of things, but it seems like he's got the confidence now to, bomb forward. And when Rashford plays on that side, it's just a different, he's a different player. When it's someone other than Rashford out on the left, like Shaw seems to not or it seems like he has some of his worst games where he's not sure what to do, when to get back into shape, when to move, when to go forward. But when it's like him and Rashford out there, they just kind of know where they both need to be, and they both play better. So it's yeah, it's a bit weird. Leicester's like 10 injuries. How can Amartey not play? Same reason how Chowdhury doesn't play sometimes, because they're bad in some cases. Tellers gave him a kick. Yeah, basically, just when somebody comes to take up your spot, they could potentially get rid of your spot when they're coming in and trying to threaten the position, saying that you're going to take the shirt. Amartey comes from my team rivals in Denmark. Oh, really? Okay, well that makes sense. Yeah, I don't see Amartey being a long-term kind of thing. Well, that's not very nice, Zodiac. Whenever Tellez plays, he's lethal at crossing. And yeah, Shaw's even improved. Shaw's been on all set pieces as well. And it's been very good. So I would say for Everton, I would say hang on to them because they could have a double game week in 30. So I would say hang on to them for now unless they're injured. I would like to see us experiment with Tellez even more. I mean, some games, in like like a dead rubber game. So let's say, United are. Let's say that we're playing AC. We play AC Milan on Thursday, right? Let's say we win 4-0 versus AC Milan, and the second leg is basically a dead rubber game where you could pretty much don't really have to do anything. You don't have to play Rashford. Just play Tellez at left wing. Why not? Play him at left back. Give people a rest. That's why Rashford's breaking down. That's why Bruno looks knackered all the time. That's why Shaw has to play every game. That's why Maguire has to play every game. Because you can give these other players that are decent, playing some playing time. It's obvious that Ole didn't sign Van der Beek and Tellez. He never plays them. Yeah, exactly, to be honest. Doherty, am I the only one that doesn't understand he's not playing? I just think Aurier is a better attacking fullback than Doherty, and they're both attacking fullbacks. So it's not like there's a contrast like Reguilon and Davies. So like Reguilon's attacking, Davies is defensive. So you kind of have a choice there. United Board joke. Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, they signed quote unquote a director of football, even though the guys, it's probably still going to be the same results overall. Somebody's already been in the system with Darren Fletcher, and they're just gonna, I guess, help. I don't know. Doherty was one of the best right backs in the league for years. Best right wing backs. Send Doherty to Liverpool, then we'll be happy to rotate him. Yeah, I mean, you can do that. Aurier always has a mistake in him. Yeah, that's definitely true, to be honest. But attacking wise, he's been a lot better defensively, to be honest, like all things considered. But he was very suspect defending. But yeah, I'm probably just going to do the one transfer and kind of wait and see what happens. And it's going to be for Barnes. It's going to be Rafinha or Lingard. And then we'll potentially go to 5 in midfield. Because if I get Lingard as an example, Lookman can still become Fernandez later. And I'll still have 0.3 for Brewster, even if I do upgrade, let's say Pereira to Digne. Be close, but I can still do it. But if let's say there was a double in 30, maybe I hold off on the Azpilicueta transfer and I go Digne or something like that, or maybe I take a hit for it. So let's just say for argument's sake, I go Rafinha, and then over the international break, let's say before game week 39 or 29. Rather. But would I play Cancelo versus Leicester? Probably not, to be honest. Who do West Ham? West Ham have Wolves. So who would I play in my defense? So I wouldn't have Pereira. I would bench him regardless if I had him. But if I had Azpilicueta, I would play him. So I play Azpilicueta. I'd play Target probably. And I'd play Shaw. But I also play Rafinha. A bit tricky. Okay, so let's say I didn't have Cancelo, didn't have Pereira, didn't have Vardy, because these would be my well, I could do 5 transfers, but for a hit if I wanted to. So Fernandes, Digne, Aspie, and then Brewster. If I wanted to go that route. Then again, then that would mean I would have to sacrifice somewhere on Calvert-Lewin. Or you know, somebody like that. If I went Calvert-Lewin, actually, what if I did, so if I did that, and that, but I did Burn, Rafinha, Fernandes, Calvert-Lewin, I'd still be short, even if I didn't have Rafinha, and I had Lookman instead, I'd still be 0.2 short. So I'd have to find it out somewhere. So does Phil Jones. I mean, Phil Jones is bad. Lingard won't play in 28. Yeah, I don't. Whoever I bring in, I don't plan to play him either. Whether it be Lingard, Rafinha, or just keep Barnes. Get rid of Watkins? No, I think Watkins can do fine. You don't have Dallas for that one? No, I don't have Dallas, no. Cancelo expected this and that, but he's overrated in FPL. And his price, it doesn't mean he returned much value for rotation. Yeah, I mean, yeah. No Fernandes. Yeah, I think Fernandes is good from 30 onwards. Bale. I mean, I already have Son and Kane, so I think that's fine. What's with you and Fernandes? He doesn't have the fixtures? He doesn't need the fixtures. He's Bruno Fernandes. He's the best FPL player in the game. Brighton is the second best defense in form. Yeah, exactly. So let's say I did Barnes this week for Rafinha. And then 429. I did Dan Burn, let's say. For who does Pereira have in? Pereira has Man City in 30. Okay, so I definitely wouldn't want to play him. In 29. And then in 30, we could do a -4 if we wanted to. Get rid of Vardy. Get rid of Lookman. Go Fernandes. Go Calvert-Lewin. And then we could, because Cancelo's defensive fixtures don't really get good until 34. So we can always bring in somebody after that. Yes, a double game week player for or even we just get rid of Rafinha. But again, Rafinha plays Sheffield United in 30, so I kind of don't want to get rid of him. But if I did, and I did bring in Fernandes back, we'd have up to 5.7 million for a defender. Park the bus Tottenham afterwards. Yeah, but Tottenham's defense is bad. Thinking of not panicking to get Bale in for Arsenal, as I don't think it would be high scoring. May keep Rashford West Ham. We'll see if Rashford is in the squad for AC Milan on Thursday. And then go from there. If he's not in the squad and Ole says, oh, he's injured or something like that, and he might not, and he won't play on the weekend, then you could probably look to potentially get rid, maybe Mahrez, you know, differential pick. But yeah, it depends on when Everton's double is. If Everton's double, then it changes things. But I'm definitely gonna make a transfer for somebody that plays in the, you know, that plays in the blank game week. So it's going to be Rafinha or Lingard. Because I don't want to get rid of Pereira or Vardy because they play versus Sheffield United. Don't want to get rid of Cancelo because he's probably going to play. Don't want to get rid of Shaw. And everyone else is playing in the blank, so. Give the Brad a leg. Give the lad a break. He plays him every game. He'll be burnt out. I mean, he already is. He's still playing with a shoulder injury. Bedtime for me. It's 2:15. Everyone sleep well. Yeah, I'm actually going to move over to the big screen now. So let's do that. Yeah, we've already gone well over the time. But yeah, remember the title. Manchester is red and always will be. But yeah, remember, deadline is on Friday this week. It's also on Friday next week as well, which is quite annoying. But yeah, we will be doing the deadline stream tomorrow. I will be back same time, 7 p.m. EST. So make sure to come check us out for that stream as well. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you are watching this over on YouTube when the vlog goes up, make sure to come check us out over on Twitch, PilotFlame226. Come and join us in the chat and have your questions for your own team. But yeah, tomorrow will be the deadline stream. And since it's not actually like a proper deadline stream, I'll probably post my team sometime on the Friday before the deadline. So you'll be able to still check it out whenever I make my decision. But most likely, we can discuss it tomorrow. But most likely it's going to be like Rafinha or Lingard. Somebody that will play in 29, but I don't necessarily want to play him in 28 because I have a good enough team to play in 28 anyway, because I have 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 3 forwards that all have great fixtures, or good enough fixtures for them to do well. So yeah, thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.